New Japan issues a statement about a defending champion. Triple H reverses course on a possible acquisition. Tony Khan goes off on Eric Bischoff. All this and the Lay Roundtable. All on this episode of the All Effin' Wrestling Show.
Coming to you live from the FN Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown. It's the
All Effin' Wrestling Show
with your host, Canada Drive and the JFP.
Good morning, afternoon. If I don't see you till later, keep my supper warm. How you doing? I am the JFB, James from Boston.
And I'm that gingered up. Son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
All right, and we are joined for this roundtable. You may recognize these faces and these voices. They were on Wednesday after Dynamite After Dark. We have the resident expert, Mr. Eyesiks. Say hi to everybody in streaming land.
Hello, everybody. This is my third show in a week.
Woo! We're keeping him busy. He's earning the paychecks.
Running through podcast land here.
And, of course, we are still joined by the still effing world champion, Trey J. Styles. Say, hey, Mr. Styles.
I just like everybody to know that I went through a bit of a scare this week. I thought I was about to lose. That's why the question mark was up there Wednesday. As you see, the question mark is now gone.
Yes, it is. He retains the AFW effing world championship. So, before we get started, I digress. Before we get started, let's go ahead and get a couple of our dark matches out of the way. One of them is the news. Hit it, intern.
From the four corners of the globe, from our studios to your home, this is FNN, the FN News Network, starring Canada Dry and the JFB.
Oh, happy Sunday to you. Woo.
Oh, this is good coffee. We got Trey J. Styles on sports.
Yeah.
We got the resident expert. What are you doing on the show? You just
He's on the weather. I thought you guys said he was on weather.
It's going to be partially cloudy today with a high of 72 and a low of 666.
You know that he's got that smooth voice. It's just like,
This
weather is raining, pouring outside, but it's like that's sexy.
I'm okay with how he describes the news. I'm all right with it.
Yeah,
all right.
Like when you go to Chick-fil-A, you go to, like, they pull up and you're like, oh, it's a warm and sunny day in the name of the Lord. It's a brisk 72 degrees. How can we make your day even better?
Be open on Sundays.
I used to be a call center representative.
Nice.
And people used to tell me all the time, man, you sound like you should be on the radio. I'm like, all right, well, find me a gig and I'll do it.
There you go.
So we got our fact of the day.
What is the fact of the day?
So today's fact of the week is Halloween style because Halloween's tomorrow.
Okay.
So I went into the Canadian brain, the Canadian dry brain, and I pulled something out.
Uh-oh.
So did you know that Halloween was also a time for ladies to find husbands?
I did not know that.
So how they did this was sometimes they would shave the apple peels off and they would throw it behind their back and look to see if it formed initials.
Okay.
The other way would be bobbing for apples. So the first woman who pulled up an apple means she was going to get married next.
Oh.
But you know, it's the Halloween's still kind of like about that because you see these women dressed in slutty outfits and they're going to find a husband that night.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one night.
Yep.
One night. One night husband. Thank you very much.
You're the greatest in the world. All right, let's get to the news. New Japan Pro Wrestling issues a statement about Carl Anderson, saying that if he does not defend his title in November 5th at their pay-per-view, hey, good afternoon, Mr. Noob, how you doing? That he would have to forfeit the belt. Well, guess what, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? He's not going to be there. He's going to be in Saudi Arabia. That's right. Going in a tag team match with AJ Styles against Judgment Day. So it looks like we will have a new never open weight champion come after November 5th. So we'll see how New Japan.
I have a bone to pick with the resident expert.
Uh-oh.
He said on the Magic of Wrestling show that hell or high water, he's going to be in Japan to defend this title. How's he going to do it?
I didn't realize it was the same date as the Saudi Arabia show.
So what's funny is Liam did, and I was waiting for him to counter your point. Is like, he just let you all look stupid on that.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Liam. Correct me here, pal.
Yeah.
You don't have these dates in my head. I got too much shit floating around in there.
You hear that horn? That's the bus that just ran you over.
We just talked about that on the like an hour before on the other episode.
Yeah. Had I known that was the date of the Saudi Arabia show, I would have been like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen. All right. Triple H actually reverses course on CM Punk and would be open to a Punk return should he leave AEW and become a free agent. I'm a Punk fan. I always have been. I've been a Punk fan before Ring of Honor. I've been a Punk fan during his Ring of Honor tenure. I'm down with that. Let's freaking do it. Bring him to WWE and make sure you give him an ice cream bar, because that was a huge sticking point with CM Punk. Mr. Eyesiks, your thoughts on Punk possibly returning to WWE?
I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I think both parties would be open to it, but there's going to have to be a lot that's resolved between them.
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, I'm pretty sure Dr. Amon still works for WWE, if I'm not mistaken. So
I know he's been
got fired this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's out of the way. That makes it a little more realistic. But they're going to have to come to the table and sit down and discuss some of these issues they've had in the past. And I kind of think that Punk might have an interest when it came out over the past week or so that one of the things that's holding him up from his AEW buyout is a non-compete clause.
Yeah.
And the only other place I could possibly see him going would be WWE. I mean, he's not going to go to Impact. I don't think he's going to end up in Japan. So it's a real possibility. We just need to see how this deal goes with AEW.
Well, why do you need to buy him out?
But we'll get to that.
Otherwise,
because you don't need to buy him out.
You could just shelve him, I guess, right?
Yes, exactly.
Unless he has like guaranteed appearance dates. I don't know how that works.
Well, no, you just pay him for those.
Yeah, it's like old WCW days.
I wouldn't buy him out without unless you're getting a really good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, like 50 cents on the dollar or something like that.
I'd say 25 cents on the dollar, but you know me, I like lowballing people as much as I can. Trey J, your thoughts on possibly Punk leaving AEW and going to WWE?
I feel bad for Cody in that situation. I really do. I feel like, Cody had this like massive amount of like momentum coming in, and I think that like the similarities between Punk coming in and then him like deciding to leave AEW and then Punk coming into WWE. I mean, it just track record wise, it doesn't bode well for him. I mean, the last time Cody had a WWE belt, I think Punk was world champion.
Yeah.
So, and he still, it's like Cody is never going to be up to that level. So I would love to see it because I would love to see Punk, somewhere.
Yeah. I
don't think anonymity is for a guy like him, especially with everything that AJ is doing and, of course, Amy Garcia. So I do wish it was under better circumstances, but, if we get to see Punk, I don't really see I don't see a net negative in seeing Punk on television.
Yeah.
Punk's body's kind of breaking down though, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he gets injured after every big match.
Yeah. I mean, he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
Things start breaking down.
WWE style is more conducive to the older guys, though.
Yeah.
True.
AEW is catch as catch can and just go for the hills,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the schedule is also it's more for someone like Punk, though.
Yeah. AEW's got a much more relaxed schedule than WWE does. Speaking of Punk acted, according to some reports, Punk acted like a psycho during his fight with the Young Bucks and the Kenny Omega. And the story about Larry is mostly false. Speaking of TK, Tony Khan.
Hold on. I just want to talk on this for a second because
Yeah.
all this is coming from Meltzer.
Actually, no, this is not coming from Meltzer. This is coming from
Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah, Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that's coming from Meltzer, like I'm wondering, like, doesn't he have a bone in this? Doesn't he have a dog in this fight? So I'm like,
he does.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Tony Khan, the chairman and owner of AEW, he goes off on Bischoff after Eric Bischoff said that AEW doesn't tell stories, and his response was, we're nowhere near as bad as Monday Nitro." Oh, Tony Khan.
I'm glad that he finally said that because Monday Nitro was abysmal for storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had
the main event guys and then
stories, and that's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it wasn't NWO, the storylines were terrible. I mean, there was that whole like Dungeon of Doom versus Four Horsemen thing that never fully materialized. They just hinted at it for literally 3 years.
Yeah.
And then Hogan, when Hogan kind of gets in the middle of it, then both groups hate Hogan.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it works. Tommaso Ciampa is on the injury block. He is actually having hip surgery. That's why we have not seen him on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Hell in the Cell premium live event is all but dead. It looks like the gimmick pay-per-views or the gimmick premium live events are going to the wayside. AEW has new signings. Officially, Willow Nightingale is full-time AEW wrestler. And the Kingdom with the Canellises and Matt Taven have signed a multi-year deal with AEW. Speaking of AEW, the Bucks and Omega were reportedly at the AEW tapings backstage. We talked about this on Dynamite After Dark with the little montage they had of them disappearing. The reports is that their return is pretty imminent. It's coming up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Speaking of producers, somebody we tried to get working for us as being a producer for this show, Arn Anderson, Mr. Glock 9mm, opens up about how much he hated being a producer for WWE.
Well, I imagine why. Vince is in your ear all the time. You got to change it, redo it.
Yeah. What do you got, Mr. Eyesiks? What do you think about Arn's? Because he talked about this on his podcast, how much he hated being a producer for WWE.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. He probably gets blamed for every little thing that happens. I think he was in charge of the live events for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and I mean, he's an old school guy. He's an old school NWA guy. Probably wants to put a lot of old school wrestling logic in the matches, and they're like, "Oh, we need to do this because it fits the story more." And I can imagine a guy like him probably beating his head against the wall over that.
Yeah, book it this way, damn it. Trey J, your thoughts on Mr. Arn Anderson's hatred of WWE?
It seems like a very consistent thing. I mean, you look at the number of people that have left. You very rarely find happy stories. I mean, even The Rock's best friend, the one that writes Young Rock now, it's like he hated writing for Vince. He hated writing for Vince. The producers, you always have somebody like second guessing what you do. I mean, nobody likes that at any job. So, having a Vince who is basically Mad Men in the 21st century, trying to tell you what to do. And it's like, I know what the young people want. They want to see puppies. I'm like, no, they don't. Nope, not that.
Game shows.
Yeah.
I just think that Vince in his younger days brought the best out of people and then somehow lost its way.
I think that's what happens with a lot of older people who don't know when it's time to step out of the way because you get used to thinking that your way was best. A lot of people don't realize the Attitude Era was terrible.
Oh, yeah. It was.
The Attitude Era honestly was terrible. Outside of like your main 6 main eventers, like the Attitude Era had the Godwins who never had a specific storyline or direction. I mean, Triple H got slammed in mud because Vince needed to punish somebody for the whole curtain call incident. Like the Attitude Era didn't even happen until Vince was just like, I'm out of options. I'm out of ideas. Just throw shit against the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while, you start being, if you get told that you're a genius, then, I mean, eventually you start believing it or you start acting like it.
Yeah.
Get that God syndrome going on.
Oh, definitely. I think Vince definitely had that. I think Vince was like, he was wrestling.
Yeah.
Because for so long, everybody identified WWE with pro wrestling. Like, you got kids now that look at wrestling the same way as they look at McDonald's. It was always WWE first. That was the first thing they realized. And Vince was WWE.
I like that because that's kind of why AEW is a threat to them.
Yeah.
To some of these fans. Because that's wrestling. And like, how dare you come up with something different that we don't understand and don't. It's not that McDonald's Golden Arches, right? And Vince was the Walt Disney. He was always called the Walt Disney of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
All right, two more really quickly. Jericho actually, according to some reports, called Punk a cancer, and several top stars don't want to work with him. I mean, you know what you're getting when you get CM Punk. I mean, even if you've never listened to him, watched him wrestle, go to his Twitter and just look at tweets, and that tells you everything you need to know about this man. He is very opinionated, and there's no changing his mind one way or another. So, and we always want to end the news with the good news. JR is cancer-free. All right, Jim Ross no longer has cancer. Congratulations, Jim Ross, which means we're probably going to hear him on Dynamite relatively soon, hopefully. He is doing Rampage, and he is calling some of the pay-per-views. So that is our news.
Oh, wait. We can't end the news like that. We cannot end our news without the Shinsuke Nakamura story. We've got to talk about that because I was definitely looking forward to this. But Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be one of Great Muta's last matches. He's going to be wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah on New Year's Day. And I think that is amazing because it's not that Vince has never, but to allow it to be promoted the way it is and all that stuff. And for somebody who is so much higher on the totem pole in WWE to actually making this kind of appearance is definitely a big thing. And this doesn't appear to have any like ulterior motives, like when they let like the superstars go to Evolve because Vince is going to buy Evolve or Progress, one of the two. And this is definitely a big deal. And I hope it's the start of something more so than a one-off.
Oh yeah, totally agree. I mean, when I saw the news and I saw it this morning when I woke up, I got super excited because I think we'll finally see Shinsuke Nakamura being Shinsuke in Japan, the king of the king of strong style.
Yeah.
But to go against Muta is a huge. I mean, that's just gigantic, especially with it being one of his last matches. It's a huge thing. It's an honor, I think, to be involved with Muta as he's going down the dusty trail into retirement. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So we got our news out of the way, including our surprise news about Shinsuke Nakamura. Now it's time to do our joke of the week. Joke of the week is brought to you by Liam the Magician. Joke of the week.
And what's going on is, of course, the Magician here with your joke of the week. So, my wife's not really happy with me at the moment. She says to me the other week, she goes, "You never take me anywhere expensive anymore." I says, "Okay then, right." I says, "When I come home from work Friday, get yourself dressed and I'll take you somewhere expensive." Apparently, a petrol station wasn't the idea she had.
Oh, hey.
A petrol station, for you those that don't know, that is a gas station. As they call it in merry old England.
Yeah, call it petrol. Gotta put it in the boot. All right, if you have a joke of the week, and I know a lot of you do, bring it to us, damn it. You have our Canada Dries at All Effin' Wrestling. I'm at Effin' Podcast. Send us your jokes of the week, and we will put them on there, and we will make you interwebs famous.
So speaking of Liam,
yeah,
he was on a ghost hunt on last night, I guess.
Yeah,
and so he filmed a lot of it, and we're going to have a Halloween Ghost Hunt special, 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Halloween.
Nice. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
So
you can watch Liam get possessed by a dark demonic demon and flail around, start puking out green pea soup. Damn it!
yeah, so that was interesting because he showed me a clip of some Ouija board shit going on. And I just I deleted that from my phone. Don't need no
Don't deal with dark forces, Randall. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But I'm excited. Halloween is one of my favorite times of the year because I'm a huge horror fan, but also I just just love dressing up and eating candy and all that other fun stuff. So
you see that new show on Netflix, The Oddity, what's it called?
the Curio of Oddities.
Yeah, I watched that first episode. I'm like, this is a good show. It's well a great done.
Show. Yeah, it's a great freaking show. All right, so let's get to our main event. Here we go. Heck the music, interns.
Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
All right, welcome to the effing Roundtable. We gather 2, 3, 4 of our closest comrades, and we give out questions in which you can receive points, and whoever has the most points is declared the winner. I am the one who dishes out the points because I have the microphone. So, with that being said, let's go to our first question. It is this. During a recent podcast, or actually over several podcasts, Chris Jericho's talked about the lack of writers writing for promos and writing out the show for AEW. Is AEW suffering with a lack of writers? Is there a lack of creativity pertaining to the lack of good B stories over A stories? I'm going to go with Mr. Eyesiks first. Mr. Eyesiks, your thoughts?
I'm never going to argue in favor of more writers, but I do think there should be some more wrestling bookers.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Tony Khan go after somebody like a Gabe Sapolsky back whenever he was available.
Yeah.
Just to come in and kind of be a logical wrestling booker, to kind of put logical old school wrestling booking to a lot of these characters and develop some actual storylines that are coherent, that make sense from week to week. So no, I don't like writers in wrestling, but I like old fashioned bookers.
Okay. Trey J, your thoughts?
I do think there should be some writers. I mean, writers do not have to flood a show by any means necessary, but you have a lot of these guys who are coming up, and a lot of even some of the veterans, like people like Willow Nightingale, who have been wrestling for a long time but can't cut a promo to save their lives.
Yeah.
Those people do need help. That was one of the big things about the WWE Performance Center, the fact that they were actively giving people pointers on how to cut promos and how to be TV ready. It's like, if you're going to wrestle on Dark your whole career, fine, do whatever. Do all the flips, do all the moves you can. But if you're going to be on Dynamite, where ratings are really counted, and Rampage, which is even more important to draw eyes to it, you're going to need some writers on some of these lower tier people. Just because you have writers for like somebody like a Dante Martin doesn't mean he's going to need it forever, but that's going to be a skill he needs to learn to step it up to the next level. We can't just keep assuming that this is going to just happen.
Yeah. Canada Dry, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think maybe obviously someone like Chris Jericho doesn't need a writer.
No.
Some of the other guys, they don't need writers, but yeah, I think for I think the women need writers. I just think that there needs to be some symmetry going on throughout the shows, and just someone, maybe not even writers, maybe a chief writer who they kind of have to go through. Maybe not everyone, but some people maybe they're under this guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I should clarify. When I say a writer, I'm talking about like a Hollywood guy who knows nothing about wrestling. So. Yeah. In the WWE Performance Center example, Dusty Rhodes led the promo class. Dusty Rhodes obviously is a wrestling guy who knows what he's doing, knows how to captivate an audience, knows how to keep things succinct for a promo and fit it into a certain time frame. And he was great at that. I think if you find some writer who wrote for Days of Our Lives and bring him in, I don't think that's going to be a good fit. But if you get some former talent or even a current talent with a backstage producer role like a Chris Jericho, it just came out that he's going to be a producer now backstage. I think maybe he could work with guys like Dante Martin and kind of come up with some bullet points that he can convey on camera.
Yeah. So for those who don't know,
go ahead.
So for those who don't know, what does a producer do in a wrestling show?
I mean, they time out the matches. They tell you who's going over. They kind of map out exactly how the match is going to go because they don't call it in the ring anymore. I mean, these things are so well orchestrated. That's basically what a producer does is, he represents the wrestlers for that match. So he kind of tells them, hey, this is when we're going to go home. This is, I want you to try to use these moves. This is the flow I want it to go with. And that's essentially
that was formerly known as an agent, right?
Yeah. They just the WWE renamed it producer.
Yeah. And I guess AEW followed suit with that.
Yeah. I think pretty much every promotion.
Yeah, pretty much became the standard.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Trey J?
I was going to say it's. I think we get when we forget sometimes how many of our WWE folks that really made big strides took acting classes. Sheamus took acting classes. McIntyre took acting classes. You heard Jungle Boy recently took acting classes. Yeah. I mean, he had an actor for a father. Yeah. So I mean, the idea of this is not necessarily to transition these people into other avenues, but to make themselves there. If the camera's on, that's your time to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And if you're not,
we got a comment from George. Why is or should there be a lack of writers when each wrestler can come up with what they want? Now there's booking.
I guess he's saying we're booking concerned.
He's trying to say that the wrestler choose what to do.
Yeah.
All right, Trey. I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, you're good. I think he was agreeing with you. But I do think that there are certain people who they go to these wrestling schools, and especially when you look at guys who are coming up in the next generation, people like Nick Wayne. Have you ever heard Nick Wayne cut a promo?
Mm-mm.
Sounds like sandpaper rubbing together.
Oh.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
But in the ring, he's a prodigy.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out somebody that can give him that other half, you got a star. There's a reason why Hook doesn't.
You spoke about Jungle Boy, and I have noticed his promo work has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
In the last few months.
Because you got to draw people into wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, a match can do it. Like Benoit Voldemort is one of those people who could draw you in with a great match. But a lot of these people, they don't. They learn how to wrestle from these wrestling schools who don't teach them a lick about charisma, a lick about promos. And then they come in and they're really good and they get crowds on their feet. And so people are like, oh, I'm taking notice. I'm going to get you. But I mean, 3 years ago, Christian Casanova, before the Carmelo Hayes thing, couldn't talk a lick. And now he's one of the more capable people on the mic. So these indie guys are learning that they have to learn this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Everybody gets 50 points and 2 kookaroos. So 50 points and 2 kookaroos.
What's a
kookaroo? Kookaroo is a fast food chicken restaurant, usually out west coast.
I've never heard of. You guys heard of this kookaroo place?
No, we don't have that here.
No. Yeah, I got confused. The kookaroo is from Get Him to the Greek, the movie with P. Diddy. And P. Diddy's like, I got 21 kookaroos. And I was like, what's a kookaroo? So I looked it up. It's a chicken restaurant, fast food chicken shack. So
all right, I'll eat my kookaroo.
There you go. All right, here we go. Number 2. Now that we are several months into the Shawn Michaels era in NXT and Triple H era in the main roster, what have been the biggest positives and negatives of the new era? Trey J Styles, you go first.
Off top is definitely the use of the roster. You're seeing a lot of people that are either being used on the main roster or going back to NXT for something or anything, and sometimes both. I mean, we got to see Rhea Ripley on NXT actively wrestling. And for what it is, I think we've missed that. I think that sometimes they've done. I think that the best thing is they've reminded us of what we've missed most about a lot of these wrestlers. Also, not seeing Finn Balor lose all the time is definitely a big positive. And just NXT. I don't know. Seeing a lot of more diverse talent, like seeing Tyler Bate and seeing JD McDonough and seeing Ilya Dragunov on American TV is always welcome. So, and Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis is definitely my favorite thing about the main roster. And the honorary Oos. Like that segment Friday was the best segment I've seen on SmackDown in a long time. Yeah. You're not feeling very Oosy. And then the Sammy Uso joke killed me.
Yeah. Sammy Uso. Canada Dry, your thoughts?
Skip ahead to Mr. Eyesiks here.
All right, Mr. Eyesiks, your turn.
I think the booking on the main roster is a lot better. I love the fact that some people are coming back that were let go that had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Like Dexter Lumis. I'm very happy to see him back. I'm glad Johnny Gargano came back. It's exciting to see this kind of infusion of energy. And of course, Bray Wyatt, I mean, we got to mention him. This infusion of energy back into the WWE product where it just doesn't feel stale anymore. Now, I will say that over the past year, I've kind of hated NXT. I just don't think it's been a very good show in the 2.0 era. I do think it's starting to go back up a little bit, though. So I'm excited to see that. But I'm going to be honest, I just straight up haven't watched that much lately because I kind of thought it was dog shit once it switched to 2.0. But I like the stuff going on in the main roster, though. I'm pretty excited to see where it goes.
All right. Canada Dry, your turn.
I like the booking so far. I'm not really sure where this Bray Wyatt thing is going. Yeah. It's kind of really convoluted, and they're kind of off to a slow start. Yeah. It's kind of like with a movie, it's supposed to be a really good movie. You're in 20 minutes. You're like, nothing's happened yet. Yeah. So I think they need to really get to the point because
it's like the first hour of Halloween Ends.
Yes.
Yeah. You're like, what is going on here?
You remember the Avengers, the Endgame one?
Yeah.
40 minutes in, there was no fighting.
Yeah.
It's just them talking. I'm like, for 40 minutes, there's not a single punch thrown. I'm like, these are superheroes. but I digress. I like the booking. I like Dexter Lumis. I like what he's doing with the Miz. I like all that stuff. And Sami Zayn is
the star,
the hottest thing in wrestling right now.
Yep.
Sammy Uso, man, you cannot be Sammy Uso.
I think they need to put a belt on him too, though.
I mean, what belt are you going to give him?
I'll give him a U.S. or Intercontinental belt.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. It's well deserved for the career that he's had. So,
well, it just goes good with the belt that Roman has. You see, look, we're the same. Look.
Yeah, or maybe he can go to NXT and win the North American belt from Wesley.
I feel like Solo would be kind of pissed about that.
Yeah, Solo would be super pissed about that, but that creates drama. Right? That's what it's all about. It's all about drama.
It'd be funny to see Roman hold his title up and just like a couple steps behind him and to the left, Sammy's holding up like the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, totally.
Like he's pretending he's him.
Or what if he got the U.S. and Intercontinental title? He's doing the same thing.
Wow. Double title holder for Sammy. Yeah, Sikoa would be pissed off if that actually happened, where he won the U.S. and the Intercontinental, and the Usos and the Bloodline have all the belts in the world. Well, except for the women's belt, but that might change. Who knows?
I think recruit a woman just to do that.
Yeah. All right, everybody gets 30 points, but Canada Dry, you get an orange, which is -5 points because you deferred instead of taking the. It's all right. It's all right. Still time to make it up. We're gonna get into the bonus rounds. Let's go.
We go next. Canada Dry, can you pull up George Penning's second to last comment, please? Yeah, I don't agree with that, George. I feel like there are a lot of people.
Read his comment first.
Huh?
Can you read it out?
Oh, the biggest positive is the better exposure of NXT with the main roster and vice versa. And I'd say a big negative is, though, who else but Breakker could survive on the main roster. I think that there's not as much difference now between going on the main roster and NXT anymore. I think Triple H has definitely done a great job of closing that gap. So there are a lot of folks that could really show up and do really well. Like even in a non-wrestling role, Quincy, the gold dust looking guy, not Quincy Carter, the one that
I know
was
who you're talking about.
yeah, Quincy Elliott. He would be a great character. He would be like pretty much what we missed out on with Velveteen Dream. I think that for one, I think Dragunov is always main roster ready. I think that Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams will be a definite force on the main roster. I think there's a lot of people right now in NXT that are like on that level of they could go at any point in time. Like Mandy could definitely go back. Toxic Attraction could definitely go up.
Can I ask y'all a question?
Sure.
What am I from the South or something? Who is going to? There's obviously guys in WWE who are not making the cut. Are there guys that you're thinking that might still get cut from WWE?
Definitely.
The main
WWE is definitely going to go through a cut. Some of the people that are probably going to get cut are people like your Javier Bernals. I'm not really. I started off feeling Hank Walker, and then that man took his shirt off, and I was like,
the
no.
main roster, mostly more than NXT.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the main roster?
Yeah.
I mean, there's usually some people that just aren't carrying.
Yeah. Lacey Evans vanished once Vince left.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I could see her being on the chopping block.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of see Dewdrop at this point, like even needing to be repackaged or being gone.
Yeah. Nikki Ash.
Is Dewdrop not being used
Nikki
as much?
Ash is definitely staying. She
just came back on Raw.
She just
right?
came back with a whole thing.
Okay.
Really exciting for her. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaliyah's gone soon, though.
Yeah, that one.
She's like really pretty, but like,
yeah, she's not.
She's also very replaceable.
Yeah,
she's not very good in the ring.
All right, let's go to our number 3. With Ring of Honor now getting a potential TV deal in 2023, do we see a transition with underused talent on AEW's roster to go to Ring of Honor? And will AEW cannibalize Ring of Honor or put more eyes on the product? Canada Dry, you go first.
Well, I think Ring of Honor is going to take a very, very important spot. And you see like at least one match every single week on Dynamite or Rampage that has to do with Ring of Honor. So it's taking this very, very prominent role. I don't think it's being cannibalized at all. I think that it's being showcased more than cannibalized.
Okay.
I think the old Ring of Honor is dead, though. It's just like when WCW got bought by WWE, they're going to do it their way, but with still a nod to the past with the handshakes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What was the other part of the question?
Well, the first part was, do you see a transition with underused talent on AEW going to Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I think that those are the people that they really need. Also, I'd like to see less people getting signed. Like, it's just like we can't handle all these people. There's so many.
Yeah. Is there? I'll save this question for last. Mr. Eyesiks, you go next.
I think there's going to be a mix of the guys who are already the men and women that were already involved in Ring of Honor with the underutilized talent of AEW. I think we're going to see a lot of those dark and elevation talents go and have more of a full-time regular role in Ring of Honor. Okay. And as far as cannibalizing them goes, I don't think so. I think what they're going to do is they're going to use Ring of Honor like the WWE uses NXT, but with the caveat that Ring of Honor's top guys and champions are still going to appear on AEW programming as well. Yeah. So, in fact, I almost think that's going to kind of put them a little more on par with AEW than even NXT is with the main roster.
Okay. Trey J, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of piggyback off of Mr. Eyesiks' comment. And I do honestly believe we're going to have the original intent for WCW and WWE. I think we're going to have like a more on parity Raw and SmackDown between ROH and AEW. I think that you're going to you know what I'm saying, like the idea of a draft is not out of the question. The idea of cross promotional pay-per-views or even a Survivor Series or something, it was like, okay. Because if you notice, there's a big difference between the way people view people getting signed now that Ring of Honor is a part of it. Like when the Kingdom gets signed, oh, and he said that just took my thunder. But like when the Kingdom got signed, everybody was like, "Oh snap, the Kingdom! Here's a team to go after the ROH titles." Like it was really exciting because you get to see these guys who were Ring of Honor, went to Impact, came back to Ring of Honor, and they're going to do their own thing. And now people are going to be more excited about it. Now it explains the fact that Samoa Joe only has to wrestle once every 6 weeks. Now you can have those matches are now big spotlight feature matches when you have an AEW versus an ROH. I think that's going to be business in the proper term.
Okay.
You know what really grinds my gears?
What's that?
Is Mercedes Martinez is the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And she hasn't been on TV. I don't remember when the last time she was on TV was
pay-per-view. She got injured. She got injured. She messed up her knee really bad.
They should have given the belt to Deeb then because
they should have.
That would have been so much better.
Yeah.
But honestly, Deeb deserved it.
Palazzo. Just saying. All right. Everybody gets 32 points. And you get a Thanksgiving Day ostrich with its own.
Where's
gravy.
my bonus points? I need to get rid of this orange.
You guys know that if you look up the dictionary definition of a ghoul, it's a figure that turns into an ostrich.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
Fascinating.
That
Right?
sounds like something from Ghouls and Goblins because they do a lot of transformation in that game.
Exactly.
All right, number 4 with Bex, Charlotte not on TV, and Naomi and Sasha not on the roster at the moment. Does WWE have a talent issue in the women's division? Do they need to go after talent, or do they have enough in NXT to call up if needed? Mr. Eyesiks, you go first.
I don't think they need to go after any new talent. I think they've got plenty that they could use, just using different roles. But yeah, it is kind of getting a bit stale on Monday Night Raw with Bailey's faction against Bianca, and it's like that's the main event feud of Raw, kind of, and it's like, yeah. And then SmackDown, of course, is Ronda Rousey cutting horrible promos and then throwing some poor girl around and snapping her arm. So it's I don't think they need any more women per se. I just think they need to start utilizing more of what they have. Have Natty do something else. They just brought Emma back. Let her do some additional stuff. The talent's there. They just got to utilize it more.
Yeah. Trey J, your thoughts?
They do. They have a lot of women that we're just not seeing. Like you said, we haven't seen Alexa and Asuka in a good while. Honestly, how bad was that beatdown, really? Like you said, Natty was definitely one. What about people like the NXT Europe girls that we haven't seen? Dawn, what was it? Aoife Valkyrie, Blair Davenport hasn't been seen since the three-way match. There's got to be a lot of folks that are just perfectly ready to go, but yet we're just not seeing them anywhere.
Yeah.
We're not seeing them do independent shows over in the UK. We're not seeing them do shows here. They're just under contract, sitting home, getting paid. And it's just like, we can't say that we have a talent depth when you're not using it. It's kind of like saying, oh my God, I'm broke, but I got $50,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
It's a hard sell that way.
Yeah. Canada Dry, your thoughts?
I think they absolutely have enough talent on that main roster. It's just a matter of, like the boy said, it's not what you do with it. It's how you use it, baby. Woo!
It's not the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean.
That's right. Now, you got
and realistically, who's even out there in the independents for them to go after?
Natalia Markova.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's one. But is anybody really itching to see Alley Catch wrestling WWE? Because I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't see.
And Jordan Grace has pretty much lost so much steam over the past 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
She should have jumped when she had the chance.
Definitely. She should have struck. Iron was hot.
Yeah.
It's definitely with these writers, they're not creating compelling stories for the women.
Yeah. Bingo. Exactly. All right, everybody gets 35 points. Canada Dry, you get plus 10 for that last comment.
And
then
it's what you do with it, right? That helped too, right?
yeah. And then everybody gets a bag of shredded cabbage. Shredded cabbage brought to you by Shredded Cabbage.
Nothing
Well,
wrong.
ostrich.
Let's go to our number 5 fantasy booking time, guys. You are booking one super show. No promotion is excluded. What 3 matches would you use to book this show? I'm going to go with Trey J Styles first. 3 matches, no promotions off the table.
Okay, so I can pick any promotion. I just got to book 3 matches
And any
using the
belts?
current rosters.
And any belts?
Any belts, any match, yep.
All right. We would have Survivor Series, okay?
Mhm.
Going back to traditional Survivor Series.
Okay.
All right. The first match would be the Bloodline in the 5-on-5, right?
Yeah.
With the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre, and then as their 5th person, Cross.
Ooh.
Because you have this match set up pretty much for Drew McIntyre to face Cross again at Crown Jewel, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are heavy hitters, just like, McIntyre and Sheamus. And they go into this match and come out with almost a respect for each other to the point where it's like, or Cross even goes to the whole point where nobody's going to beat you up. I am. So, boom. There you go. 5-on-5 match. And I think that would sell. Okay. Second one's a little bit tough. Second one is NXT is going to be Survivor Series 5-on-5 match. NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown women's match. Okay. 5 women from Raw are going to be Damage Control, Bianca, and Nikki Ash. We know Nikki and Bianca have issues with Damage Control and probably have issues with each other, right?
Yeah.
So you got that bit of conflict. But then your NXT team would be Toxic Attraction, Zoe Stark, and Nikita Lyons. For one, you're not going to be able to do this match without Nikita Lyons. It's just not possible. Okay. Spell hater in the building.
Sorry.
And let's be real, Life of the Party doesn't translate well into the main roster.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
All right. So you're going to get that. So already you got teams that have conflicts, right?
Yeah.
But then you follow up with SmackDown's team, which is probably going to walk in as the favorite to this.
Yeah.
You'd have Rousey and Baszler.
Yeah.
Okay. Rodriguez.
Okay.
Shotzi because Aaliyah's injured.
Yeah.
And then Natalya, because you can't just have a match like this without Natalya. All right. The booking on this is insane because you would have Sonya, who's currently on SmackDown, kind of having to make this decision. Do I support my brand or do I support my best friend?
Okay.
Right? That opens up that'll open up a whole bunch of new feuds for later because eventually Toxic Attraction is getting called up. So you have Toxic Attraction against Ronda. This runs the same way as when this runs basically the same way as when Toxic Attraction won the belt from Raquel.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Then finally, you would finally get that match that we should have gotten for a long time, right?
Yeah.
The ex-Paul Heyman guys, right? So you'd have you get Punk back, you get Lesnar to come in as this like super team, right? You put them in basically a tag team battle royal against like almost every other team.
Okay.
It's like your match is now tag team elimination. Okay. You would basically get to showcase Brock and Punk. Punk's not going to get injured because Brock's basically going to be a train running through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And you would put so much more of a spotlight on the tag team wrestling. Now, look, Brock can't ever go against Roman again.
Yeah.
But Brock and Punk could definitely take the belts off the Usos eventually. And having this big of a showcase, people would want to see it because you would have this thing that sets up now, okay, we know what side Paul is chosen.
Yeah.
but now you have Brock and somebody that can fully go on the mic against anybody else.
Okay.
As mentioned, we know that these two guys don't play nice with each other, so watching them together is compelling television.
All right. Canada Dry, what are your 3 super card, the Canada Dry Invitational Memorial Tournament?
Well, do we have any time left after that? Like,
Oh yeah, we do. We got plenty of time.
sorry, I had to. All right. So, because she is the face of F1 Wrestling, I'm booking Serena Deeb versus Natalia Markova for the AEW Women's Championship.
Okay.
I'm also booking as the main event.
Yeah.
FTR and CM Punk.
Okay.
Versus the Elite.
Okay. Woohoo. Can it be a brawl backstage?
About to say, real punches getting thrown here.
And just for fun, we're going to have Cody versus, let me see, who do we got? Versus Bryan Danielson.
Okay. I'm digging it. Mr. Eyesiks, your super show.
I am going to go with Kazuchika Okada versus Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
For like my technical Japanese style clinic.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go with CM Punk versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of story they could tell there about the interview with Colt Cabana in the past and him taking credit for the Shield and all that.
Yeah.
And them taking shots at each other in the media over the years. I think that could be something pretty big. And then I'm going to go with Serena Deeb against Becky Lynch.
Wow. All right.
I think that'd be a fantastic match.
Holy crap. All right. 20 points goes to Trey J, 25 points to Canada Dry, 35 points to the resident expert, Mr. Eyesiks, because those were just balls out. Freaking awesome. And so Canada Dry gets a little extra points too. He's going to get 3 extra points for bringing Markova up because she is the face of FN Wrestling. We got to make sure we.
Noob thinks Markova versus Asuka.
That'd be a good match too. I wouldn't mind seeing that. All right, let's get to our last and final one. Do dirt sheet reporters need to be held to better standards when it comes to reporting? Should they do their due diligence like Sports Illustrated or upper or higher end publications? Or will they be relying on clickbait and rumor mongering? I'm going to go with Canada Dry first.
Wow. See, there's more wrestling news sites than any other sport.
Yeah.
Like you don't see hockey with 50 random, like so many.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. And exactly, there is no standards.
Yeah.
Completely unregulated.
There's how do you hold something like this to standards? How do you do that?
Yeah.
There's no way.
There is a way.
Put him in a steel cage.
We'll wait for your turn to tell me the way. But I don't see a way to hold these people to the standards. Like if say JFB tells me something that he heard from somebody, I can then make a story about that. Why not?
Yeah. That's true. Mr. Eyesiks, your thoughts?
I always thought it was kind of silly that we have like journalists that cover like war correspondents that cover like the Ukraine-Russian conflict, and then we have guys who cover fantasy fighting with men in their underwear.
Yeah,
I just always thought that was kind of fascinating. Yeah, I mean, obviously, wrestling journalism it's silly in itself, the idea of it.
Yeah,
and I think that there's just no standard. I mean, obviously, these guys are kind of down below, way down below, like ESPN or Sports Illustrated or CNN or any kind of reputable journalistic integrity. I mean, I don't know much about Dave Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp's backgrounds or Ryan Satin or any of them, but I mean, are they actually like trained journalists in the sense of did they get journalism degrees? I mean, or did they just step into this as fans?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see the Virgil. Come on, let's get some
meat sauce on this podcast.
Yeah, let's go. We get Eddie DiBiase and Virgil on the show today.
Nice.
Wait, we win. I mean, I've got Virgil here, so I automatically win. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and after he beats you, he's going to charge you $35 for an autograph. So
Yeah.
you got that going for you.
You know it's
Trey J.
$35 now.
Yeah, I
Right?
got the money.
Trey J, your thoughts on my question?
Mostly because I don't want to be left out. I'm going to hold up this copy of WWE 2K20.
All right.
No particular reason, but I just feel like Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch are better than both of those guys.
Okay.
But here's the problem.
Are you a WWE mark?
Part of the problem is you have this industry where people will say something and then the next person will quote them and say, well, we got it from this and this is the source. And that person was like, see, we were quoted by that person. It becomes this big circle of misinformation.
The telephone game, right? Yeah, it's like the telephone game, right?
Yeah.
You tell somebody something, they tell the next person, it gets a little more convoluted, a little less true, and it just goes on down the line.
And then people start, doing this circle citing that gives an air of authenticity. One of the things that we have to remember, though, is that we know for a fact with WWE, all the names are trademarked, right?
Yeah.
So just hands down, that gives anybody who uses those names some degree of liability. Now, whether or not wrestling at this point hasn't chosen to pursue that, but that is an option. The U.S. trademark code allows liable suits for things like that. The reason why a lot of that would definitely shut stuff down is because most all of these websites have some sort of active tracking and some real names behind it, which means there's somebody that physically you could sue. And more than likely, given that these are billionaire run companies for the most part, that would either limit them to reporting on independence, which nobody which is going to have more localized fan bases instead of national, or they would have to shut down in general because they couldn't afford the lawsuits.
Yeah.
So there is technically like a legality way. Now, granted, the company that chooses to do this first is going to be seen as this massive bad guy, but it's one of those things where you got to take the hit for the greater good of society. Because right now we just got rumors being disguised as facts.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody gets 40 points and a limited edition Taz figurine, because I'm not going to be left out either. It's Taz.
Did we just
Taz
start up a figurine podcast somehow?
You guys know I did create Natalia Markova on this game, right?
Well, you're going to have to
Nice.
send me a picture of your creation, because
No problem.
yeah.
All right. Well, guys,
post it and show her. She loves to retweet stuff like that.
that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Holy Christopher Columbus. We had some good questions. The winner is Mr. Eyesiks. He is going to win a year's supply of turtle wax. Turtle wax, not made from real turtles.
Just what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah. Not. I have to put the disclaimer. It is not made from real turtles. Just want to put
So
that out.
not only
It's false advertising, man.
It's not like that gerbil wax you sold me. You said that was made of real gerbils.
That is made out of real gerbils, damn it.
There's so
but
many
they
of them.
were dead before they were turned into gerbil wax.
Good. Okay. Well, at least it's humane.
So not only do we have on Monday the Halloween paranormal investigation show, but next week on the All Evan Rush show, we're giving away that Bret Hart figure.
Yeah.
Based on who has the best Halloween costume posted to all of our Effin' Wrestling community.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you dressed up as Sting, Virgil, the $1 Million Man, Macho Man, whatever, send your pictures in and let us know, and we will choose you into the drawing, and then you could possibly win the Bret Hart figure from Ringside Collectibles, because they have the greatest freaking collectibles.
Come and sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly. Come and sponsor us, damn it.
I was going to say jerkwads, but I'm like, well, we want them to. We don't want to call them jerkwads.
Jerkwads. Punch them in the handbags.
Yeah, I think Dollywood has got the edge on that with like 2 entries with another one coming. So
Yeah. So we've seen Stone, we've seen the Dusty, and we've seen Sting. I feel like we're going to see Stone Cold.
I've seen the Stone Cold ones. It's pretty badass.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Dusty.
So yeah. So anyways, so make sure you go to our YouTube page, not our YouTube page, go to our Facebook page and go ahead and submit your costumes. Of course, how do you get there? Well, it's interesting. If you go to youtube.com/Effin' Wrestling and scroll down, There's our links. But if you want to check out a really awesome website, fnwrestling.com, scroll all the way down. We have all the social media links, AFW, the Prediction League, our regular Facebook page, you name it, we have it. Connect with us, interact with us, come and share what we're doing with the world. That's going to be an awesome thing. If you like shirts, and I know you do, Canada Dry's got, of course, the Wreckage shirt because he's on Wreckage. I forgot one of my shirts at home, so I'm wearing my Black Lives Matter from the Bullet Club.
Nice.
You can go to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling and get all the gear and the swag that you want. We have a buttload of shirts. We are a t-shirt company, buttload, which is a metric ton of shit, a buttload. Just in case anybody was wondering, that's our measurement. So you go to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling. You can get all these shirts. We are a t-shirt company that does podcasts and prediction wrestling. If you like old school wrestling and you're a huge fan of Adrian Adonis, help his family out. prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis, where you can get your Adrian Adonis apparel. All the proceeds go to his daughters and his wife. B is a absolute blessing. We love her, and
not all of it. We get half. So
we get half. Yeah, we get some.
We don't
of it.
We don't want misinformation here.
Yeah, we get a little kickback. Kickback, like a Scotia kickback.
Yeah.
So go to prowrestlingtees.com, go to our awesome website, effingwrestling.com. And on behalf of Mr. Eyesiks, the resident expert, Trey J Styles, still the effing world champion, I am the JFB.
And remember, if Hulk Hogan doesn't return your calls, just keep fighting.
Woo! This has been an effing worldwide media production. You can find us on all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and others. Head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/effing wrestling. And while you're there, click like and subscribe. Want some swag? Head to our store at prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling. You can find all these links and much more at our awesome website, effingwrestling.com. As the JFB always says, you can book it.